I don't know about the rest of you, but I think now is a pretty good time to be a Transformers fan. It's the year of the 40th anniversary, so Hasbro's really stepping its game up with rep in the main line from Cybertron to Beast Machines. TFCon LA was a damn good time, and, most of all, Transformers 1 dropped its first trailer after months of anticipation. And there's only one way I can think of to celebrate that last one in particular. Baselessly speculate about the movie with only a few minutes worth of footage and random interviews to work with. It's a time-honored fandom tradition. You'll know how it goes by this point. Anyway, I'm not here to speculate based on Easter eggs or anything like that from the trailer. Not out to explore things like if Megatron's hexagonal eyes mean anything, or sifting for hints of obscure favorites. Instead, my sights are set on one of the lead characters, for what I think are some interesting behind-the-scenes implications. As you all know, Bumblebee is present as one of the main cast members alongside the usual players in the pre-war era. Myself, I'm not quite fond of the idea nor what I've seen of Bumblebee in the trailers. Partly because the jokes personally didn't land, but also because I don't care for the idea that a movie depicting an Optimus and Megatron origin to a general audience, shoehorning Bumblebee into a central role when he shouldn't even be born yet. It wouldn't surprise me if it turned out that his inclusion as part of the main cast was part of a Hasbro or Paramount mandate. Let's put it that way. Not to spend the whole video making you think I just hate Bumblebee like it's the late 2000s, I bring it up because, with that in mind, I rewatched the trailer and took note of certain choices with another character in the main group. And now, I suspect that another, more popular character was supposed to be in the film late enough in development for remnants of them to still exist. Namely, I think that Ariel/Elita One was originally supposed to be the more iconic female Autobot, Arcee. Now some of you might already be shaking your head and trying to remind me that Ariel/Elita has been there since War Dawn, so why would Hasbro or Paramount feel the need to swap her out with Arcee? And that's true, but again, Bumblebee is inexplicably present in place of Dion, so I don't think she's there because G1 said so actually holds up that well to scrutiny. After all, hints of the 13 Primes and other elements from the Covenant of Primus have been spotted in the promotional work. Some suspect they intend to borrow from that version of the story and swap out elements from the original. Like maybe having the enigmatic Dion's role filled by Bumblebee, down to him being critically injured by Megatron in his first act of betrayal. If they're willing to do that to inject a character the casual fan is going to be more familiar with, why not do the same to Ariel in favor of Arcee? Now you might be thinking, okay, they replaced Dion in favor of Bumblebee, but let's be honest, the best thing Dion has going for him is that he might have been rebuilt into Huffer or Ultra Magnus, but probably not. Elita is way more significant and popular than Dion. They wouldn't replace her too. Is she though? Now don't get me wrong, I certainly do believe that Elita One is a character worthy of the love and admiration she's gotten to this point. More so even. I was very pleased to see her taking a starring role in the Netflix trilogy and to see how her voice actor, Lindsay Rousseau, got so attached to the character. Hell, one of my longtime friends, Lala Lita on Twitter, has been Elita's #1 hype woman as long as I've known her. None of this speculation is meant to downplay Elita or how good of a character I think she is or has the potential to be. But it must be said how underrepresented the character is to this point, and how often she has been confused for Arcee anyway, leading me to believe that the crew may have at one point considered swapping the characters for the sake of easy brand recognition for less initiated fans. In this regard, no part of Elita's character is especially sacred and has usually been handed off to Arcee in some form or another. Well, not officially yet, that does include her consistently being paired with Optimus Prime romantically, despite such interactions ranging from very sparse to downright non-existent in official media. Only real example I can think of being a side story in one episode of Transformers Prime. For more on that, please check out my video where I explored Arcee's romantic relationships and what they suggested for her as her character evolved over the years. From a more standalone point, Arcee is usually the go-to representative for female Cybertronians anyway, and tends to supersede Elita in any continuity, if the two even manage to coexist past G1. Energon borrowed pre-upgraded Elita's ponytail helmet and even the name Ariel in Japan, but otherwise the character of Arcee was clearly more inspired by the G1 namesake and set up some more iconic elements for her going forward. Elements that are present in Elita One's redesign for TF1. Admittedly, Elita One's original vehicle design and even Arcee's to a point are a bit abstract, but both were meant to turn into Cybertronian cars. And for the most part, scant versions of Elita and Ariel to this point have reflected that, or tried to emulate the hover car aspect. From her BotCon Thunderblast repaint to her most recent figure, reimagining her as a more sturdy armored car. Arcee, on the other hand, has been more consistently reimagined with a motorcycle alternate mode ever since Energon, making the fact that Elita has taken up a much rarer and Arcee-rooted motorcycle-like mode in the trailers much more noticeable. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time we've seen Elita get Arcee's hand-me-downs. I suspect the War for Cybertron version wasn't the last. Of course, we have Ariel and Elita now, and only time will tell how impactful this latest big screen appearance will be. After all, it's not like the character has been completely obscure leading up to this moment. After a false start with a planned line confirming her existence, and her death in tandem to elicit an angry reaction from Optimus and Transformers Prime, Elita has been enjoying a bit of a resurgence from appreciative fans across different media. From trading card games to comic books, web series, and, prior to Transformers 1, her first television appearance since animated as a prominent character in Transformers Earthspark. So while I have my reasons to believe that Hasbro or Paramount may have intended to switch Elita for the more culturally relevant Arcee, long enough that remnants of the latter left their mark on the former, I don't suggest that to say that Elita is less worthy of the attention than Arcee or anything. Only to wonder, and if indeed that turns out to be the case, celebrate that Elita One managed to win out, and get her well-earned second chance in the spotlight. More people will realize that female Autobots aren't as endangered as they once thought. I'm not saying the meme is dead. It's over. Go home.